Hello everyone, and welcome back to From Our Basement Gaming. Connor is here, he is playing, but in terms of talking, it'll just be me, so it'll be a little bit different, but, hang in there with me. He's just having what we're thinking is allergy flare-up, so just letting him not overuse his voice. So we're back with part 36, by the way, of Croc. What we're hoping will be our last part, but we'll see how it goes. Yep, so, yeah, we, hope you're doing well. Hope May has been treating you well so far. The late April to early May for us has been crazy weather. Sadly, we've still had some mornings that feel a bit like winter. Which I'm not very happy about at this point in the year, especially with some evenings that feel like winter, and the days have been going back and forth between cold spring days to more average spring days to hot like summer, so it's been pretty rough. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's just how Maryland is. Maryland, crazy weather, but it was not this crazy last year. I mean, this is not your typical Maryland weather. This is definitely, without getting into it too much, this is a very unusual year for weather phenomena, I feel like. And I know it's not just our state. I think it's around the whole country, probably around the whole world, I'd venture to say, because I know, I think I had heard that Japan was having unusual weather too, like the cherry blossoms were off season by a few weeks, so. Which, by the way, usually when they talk about that, they just mean in the area around Tokyo. They kind of neglect to acknowledge that it's usually a few weeks different depending on what part of Japan we're talking about. But, you know, that's just the way it is. If I end up sounding a little awkward, I apologize. I think I was able to carry on some of an episode on my own a few years ago, but I don't remember for sure. And Croc just froze. Off to the great start. Oh well. Just doing the best we can with what we have. Sorry about that. That was a very noisy bottle cap closing right there. I'm hoping by the time we record the next video that it will be more what you normally expect from us. Which it probably should be. So anyway, if your country or state or wherever you are has crazy weather, stay safe out there. Especially if you're prone to allergies. I mean, I take medicine every day for allergies. If I didn't, I probably wouldn't have much of a voice myself, and doing my job would be difficult. I know, because I was tutoring the kids when I was struggling vocally, and that was not fun. So, yeah, very excited to start A Link to the Past on this channel. It's a game that's very nostalgic for both Connor and I. Isn't the first Zelda game for either of us, but it's still one we very much enjoy. And I would say A Link to the Past is... I want to say it's maybe the third one for me. Because I think I played it... Yeah, I played it before the Oracle games came out, so yeah. I think it's fair to say it's probably my third Zelda game that I've played. Yeah, because it actually took me a little bit longer to play the first two. So I kind of played the games in a weird order, but I'm sure that's probably the case for a lot of people who kind of, you know, were introduced to whatever game came out when you were playing those types of games. Then you either went back to try the old ones or played some new ones and then went back to old ones. You know, I know it's a variety. I don't know if anybody was like, they started with the first Zelda game and then just played them all in order. It could be, but I don't think that was the experience for a lot of people around me anyway. Yeah, so... yeah. We also had done some shopping last weekend at our usual video game stores. I think that was last weekend. So that was fun. I mean, other than that, I haven't really done too much. I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday, but it was packed because Saturday. And they rearranged things a little bit. Like, not completely, but enough where it was kind of frustrating initially. Like, where I'm like, why did they rearrange this? Part of me was thinking, were they bored? Because it didn't even feel like they rearranged it in a way that made sense. Like, the foreign language books used to be right next to the foreign travel, but then they kind of put them on the side. And they broke up the education books, like they used to be all together with like the workbooks on one side, the references on the other bookshelf. And then behind the workbooks you had like the books about teaching and education and stuff. But no, the books about like teaching and stuff, they put it with the parents section, which is like halfway across the store. So of course I couldn't find it until I asked the lady. So like that kind of stuff, I'm like, did they just rearrange because they were bored? Because they certainly didn't rearrange in a way that makes sense to me anyway. And yeah, there was a lot of, like, there were a lot of young people there, like a lot of teenagers, and it's fine, it's just that they happened to be rowdy teenagers. Some teenagers are not rowdy, and I appreciate the ones that aren't rowdy. Because, and they, of course, were all huddled around the stuff I wanted to look at, so I didn't look at everything I wanted to look at. But, you know, sorry for my very exciting story about going to Barnes & Noble, but we haven't really done too much. The weeks are busy, and I feel like the weekends aren't as refreshing as I need them to be. So I'm just hoping, you know, I keep hoping, oh, maybe next weekend. As I get to Sunday and I'm like, oh, no, I'm not ready for the week. Like, I'm ready in terms of I have the stuff I need for the week. I'm just not physically or like mentally ready. I guess that's part of the reason why I feel like I'm a little burnt out with the tutoring, but I like working from home, but I'd like to get some more voice acting work at some point. I just, with the problems I had in February and recovering from that, I just couldn't audition, So again, I'm serious. If you know anybody who needs a voice actor for a project, let me know, please. I get too many like almost interested people who do not. They either lose interest or maybe they found somebody they liked better. I don't know. That's kind of what it's been like lately. So. That's hard. Anyway, yeah. Oh well. Maybe next week will be a bit better. The HDMI messed up, and where he's sitting, he can't really see the monitor. So, give us just a minute. Oh, brother. This is embarrassing. I know you guys don't see any issue. There we go. Alright, we got it back. Yep. Well, I'm hoping the weather will stabilize eventually. We're also hoping our next convention will be better than the last one. The last one was a disaster. I think I talked about it on this channel before, but yeah. And if you hear buzzing, I apologize. That's our stupid dehumidifier that I don't think is working properly. I don't even know if it's even set up properly anymore, and it's still running. Like, it's determined, I'll give it that. It'll keep running even if... So honestly, I thought the work we had on the basement was to help us not need the dehumidifier to run. But, you know. Oh well, what can I do? it was nice to hear Echo the Dolphin music on the official website. Some remastered songs, and they put up a bunch of the original soundtracks from the first two games, like the different ports of the first two games. I know some people were like, oh, no love for Defender of the Future, but I understand why in this case. You know, the original creator was not personally involved in the making of Defender of the Future, even though most of the team was still there working on it. And I don't think he wrote the story, like, you know, like I said when we were playing that game. It was written by a sci-fi author who, like, back in the 80s and I think maybe early 90s, wrote some stuff, like futuristic stuff about evolved. He has one that's like evolved apes, but he also had a series about dolphins. So I think that's why, you know, they got him to write for Defender of the Future. So I consider it an alternate timeline from the first two games. And I know he's probably going to, as part of this package, release the third Echo game that he wanted to release. So that's why I'm not, like, upset, because I don't feel like it's necessarily supposed to be a snub at Defender of the Future. If the fans were doing it, I would consider it a snub, but because I know a lot of people didn't like Defender of the Future. Hey, we played through all of it, and we liked it overall. I mean, there were certainly frustrating moments, but you probably know us well enough that it has to be, like, really frustrating throughout the entire game and have a lot of problems for us to dismiss it or say, oh, this is a bad game, we don't like it, you know. Excuse me. We're pretty patient. You know, if there's a lot of promise in the game, we're going to give it that credit, because that's something we want to do on this channel anyway. We want to give things a fair shot. We're not going to be like, oh, we're going to play this game that everybody hates and we know it's bad, and therefore we've already set up that expectation that it's going to suck and we'll complain about it the whole time, you know. We'll try to find the good and stuff. That's pretty much why, even if I have something on our list that, like, I've heard from being on the internet that it's a bad game, I will still be like, yeah, let's do it. Unless it's, like, insanely expensive. But mind you, there are great games that we haven't bought because they're insanely expensive, so that's just the unfortunate reality right now with retro games. And I'm mad about it. I consider it kind of predatory, but that's the nature of it right now. Especially with a lot of companies purposely putting in provisions in their paperwork, or terms of service rather, that basically make it crystal clear that they don't consider you owning a game if you bought it digitally. They don't care if you spent your money on it. If they're going to take it off of their library, that's it. You don't have access to it anymore. So that's why I was very upset, like, for example, with The Sims 4, when they like the first few expansion packs for Sims 4 did have disc copies, but they were very hard to come by. And now they just don't even bother. They're just digital only. And I'm not happy with that. So, because I don't know, maybe to the companies, maybe to them, they're like protecting their IP or whatever. Maybe that's their excuse. But by owning the game, we're not owning their IP. And nobody's gonna stop. We finally did it. Yay! Nobody is gonna stop buying new games just because they can still have access to their old games. Trust me. I know gamers. I am one. It's not gonna happen. But they're so paranoid. Like, oh, if we continue to let them have access to Final Fantasy 11, they're not gonna buy 14. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's Final Fantasy. They'll buy all the titles. They'll play the new MMORPG if you make it good. But they still might want to play 11. So just to give an example. Alright, we are finally here. Alright. I don't know if he said anything because we have the volume down. He probably did. Or maybe he just made growly sounds. I don't really know. But, alright. Here we go. We just gotta make it up there. Yes, I did. Yeah, at the very least, even though our last convention went badly, we did discover a very cool retro gaming store on the way home. That we probably could reasonably visit again if we wanted to. You know. Once we're back ahead of the game, we might go to some of our a little bit further out retro video game stores again. But the nice thing about this store is they did say they would ship, so do you know how to fight him? Did you already study it? Okay. Yeah, it's funny how this TV kind of makes things look more reddish. The HDMI cord connected to the monitor fixes that, so you guys won't necessarily see it, but we kind of see a lot of stuff in a red tint, and I don't think we ever really fixed that. I think that's just what the TV's doing now. And I don't know if it's because it's older, which is very possible. It could just be fading a little bit. we've enjoyed Croc overall, I feel like. And yay! Did we do it? I think we did it. That was a very abrupt way to win. Where I'm like, oh, okay. Alright, awesome, very good, yeah. And thank you to those of you who stuck in there with us. I know our viewership on Croc has tanked quite a bit, but we appreciate. I think we were still getting like 2 views at the very least, so we appreciate those of you who did show up. Thank you so much for showing up and being with us for this. I assume there's no surprise, there's another round, and I know we didn't complete like 100%, so if there's a better ending out there, sorry, you're not gonna see it. Oh, that's so cute. So they put up a statue of... I mean, that's fine as long as they're not worshipping him, then I'd be kind of concerned, but... Because I'm sure that they were forced to worship this barren guy. I didn't forget his name. I looked it up last time. Was it Dante or something? I don't remember. But yeah, he probably forced them to worship him, so they probably like, no, forget that. We're gonna replace this with a Croc statue. Yeah, Fox Interactive. It's so weird to me that Fox used to, like, publish games. Or maybe not publish, but, what's the word I'm looking for? Distribute. Yep. Yep, this is awesome. Good job. Yep. Argonaut, yeah. They had a lot of game testers. That's good. That's good. I thought that would be a cool job to have, but then I also was like, I think you kind of have to be good. Because, like, for example, if they accidentally make a level impossibly difficult, they would need a skilled player to know it's not a skill issue. That, like, yeah, you kind of made the game, or this part of the game impossible to beat. You know what I mean? That's why I felt like I couldn't be a game tester. Because I wouldn't be able to tell, is this game really hard or am I just really bad? But I mean, I'd be able to help with the stuff like, well, are there glitches or stuff like that? Do the levels load properly? Like that kind of stuff. Obviously, you don't need super skill. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching through 36 parts. Since we don't have the whole month, we'll probably do a few one-offs, which is fine. We have plenty of those on the PlayStation. Or, you know, like a shorter game or two. It's funny, I was like, oh, we could play Tekken 3, but we already played that, so. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!